guys, so today we're going to be taking a look at how to take a wrist shot. I think going back to the tutorials that started this channel, it's pretty cool because a lot has changed. I was the one demonstrating how to take a wrist shot, God knows how many years ago. And obviously the audience has changed, the skill set that you guys have has changed. It's why it's always great to be able to involve coaches and players that are far more skilled than I am and are better at being able to explain these things. So what's going to be different about this tutorial from the way that we shot it previously, which I'm guessing you've probably not seen because it's very old and very terrible?
It was probably before I was born, so I haven't seen it. But
wow, wow, that cuts me real deep because I don't even want to talk about what year I was born and what year you were born, but it makes me very sad. Anyways, you go, keep going, go for it.
No, but the technique has changed a lot. I'm sorry, man. The way I got taught to shoot is completely different to how I shoot now, and the technology in these have changed, and some of the players stay the same, but if we really learn how to utilize the stick and the new technique we have, you're gonna shoot like a mad dog. And if you have the same technique as the NHL players, of course with a little extra strength and practice, you're gonna shoot as good as the players. Simple as that. It's no magic behind it. It's just hard work and being really accurate with what you're doing with all the smallest details. But we'll break it down for you in a minute. Chris' stick is circumcised now this time. No wonder uncircumcised.
Look at that. It's the right length, it's the right length.
The new Hockey Tutorial custom jersey design has been confirmed, and this will be the design that you see both me and Tommy rocking for 2025. Now, this custom design is already available on the store. Some of you have already picked it up. And of course, if you want to pick up any of our other merch, including the I Am Hockey hoodies and also sweatshirts, the Stick Curve t-shirts and hats, the link will be available down below.
But before we jump in, as always, guys, 40% of you that watch these videos and come back aren't subscribed. Subscribe. And side note, these tutorials are part of a partnership that we have with the Nordic Hockey Center, guys. More importantly, these tutorials are just a little bit of what these guys can teach and show you. So down below will be a link to Nordic Hockey's website so you can check out what they do, their shooting analysis, their skating analysis, where it doesn't matter where you are, you can submit footage of you shooting. They'll teach you how to improve it, how to be the best hockey player that you can be. Side note, there's also going to be exclusive content coming later on, but we'll touch on that once it's here. But let's jump into this tutorial and show you guys how to take, you're going to show me how to take a wrist shot as well. And while we're at it, can you teach Tommy what a snapshot is? Is this going to be another tutorial?
Well,
Tommy?
We'll do a shooting analysis on Tommy in a bit, but learn what to do before you do it. Don't waste time practicing if you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly, let's go for it. But Tommy, don't worry, he's going to show you how to take a snapshot, a real snapshot.
The wrist shot, we're breaking it down into 4 key movements. The first one is the stance and positioning, how we hold the stick and how we want our feet to be and our body. Second one is loading the shot. This is basically where we gather energy and pulling energy into our body and getting ready to unleash. Third movement is pull through, and that's where we take the power we've loaded into the body in the loading movement and then push it into the stick. And this is also where we rotate and start rotating our hips, torso, and shoulders. The last part is the release, and that's where we push the flex out of the stick and into the puck. And I analyze a lot of shots out there, and what I see is we're not always going to get the best positioning and stance. We're not always going to get the best load up or pull through, but what needs to be sitting 10 out of 10 times is your release. Because that's where you're aiming, and that's where you're getting the flex that you can get into your stick out in power and effect into the puck. And you don't want the puck to go wobbly either. But that's another subject, which we already discussed about. You can go back and watch the earlier video we did on how to increase your speed and shot power on the channel, and then come back and continue watching this video. It will all make a lot more sense. First stage, positioning. So comparing to when we take a snapshot, when we take a wrist shot instead, we want to move this lower hand a little bit further down. It's not a lot, basically 1 hand length further. And this depends a lot on which kick type you have in your stick. And there's a lot more to it with the stick and the flex and the different kick points, but I'll talk more about that in a bit. So stick is a bit further down, and comparing to when we take a snapshot, wrist shots are most effective when we're on both feet, have a wide stance with both feet into the ice, or when we're stepping into the shot. Basically switching the body weight from leg to leg. So when we're only on one foot, we want to do the snapshot because we can't really utilize this movement and the full rotation. So that's when I hold higher up, my body gets more up straight. But when I'm here with a wider stance, you see I get further down, then it's gonna be more shooting for me to hold a bit lower too. And then I'm gonna get way more power and be able to shift my body weight into the flex easier later on. Second stage, loading the shot. Comparing to the snapshot, where we want to be really soft in the blade in the beginning, here we want to put a bit more pressure into the ice. Also, we have more of the blade into the ice in the beginning. Pressure is still out on the toe, really important. If I flex the stick on the heel, get zero flex. If I'm on the toe, it's a lot more whippy. And when we shoot on the toe, it's also going to be easier to steer the puck where we want it to go and hit it the right way. But like I said, go watch the other video we did earlier with shot speed and power, where I break all of this down a lot further. But then when we're loading the shot, we're gonna load it differently, of course, depending on where we are on the ice and how the situation looks. But we want to pull our elbows into our body here. The lower elbow goes into the hip. And it's really important here that the elbow goes past the hand. Because if the elbow is outside of the hand, I'm gonna rotate from the outside of my body and have to use a lot of strength and power. I want to use technique. So I get the elbow inside and get it by my hip. Here, I can rotate into my body and then shoot out. So just look for this with your stance, so you're not shooting here, but getting the elbow on the inside. Second part is the top hand and top arm. Here, we want to tuck the wrist in. This is so we get a closed blade when we're shooting. This is really important too. And this front elbow, when we're loading, I want to pull it almost towards the net and get the shoulder more in front of me. Because when I'm here and I rotate in the pull through later, I'm gonna rotate more upwards and be able to shift my body weight more down into the ice. Instead of having the elbow on the side of me, where I get this side motion, which I explained with the elbow here. So basically shooting on the outside of your body, instead of shooting in, using your body weight to the maximum capacity, and then releasing out. When we pull our elbows here into our body, it's important that we align the stick and the shaft good with our lower arm. So what we're looking for here is when we load in, we want it to almost look like an X shape. What I'm talking about here is the angle of the shaft comparing to an angle of this lower arm. So if we draw a line here down to the ice and with the stick, it's gonna look like an X. If you have a more stiffer stick, it's gonna look more like a plus sign. And that's simply because you're not able to flex it here. It's too stiff for you. And then you need to be more upwards. So if you're too much upwards, it's time to get a whippier stick. We want to use the technique that these bad boys have and not shoot with just our power and strength. That's stupid. So we get in here, find this alignment, and when we pull in, we want to load our shoulders. This is really important. The shoulder rotation is something we can get 10 out of 10 times, even when we have an uncomfortable stance or the puck isn't where we want it to be. And it's never gonna fail us. The hip we can lose behind, but the shoulders are super crucial. And if you're getting a bad pop in your shots when you're shooting, it's probably because the shoulders are too slow or you're not getting as big of a motion as you want. So just keep that in mind when you start practicing the shot at home. So what I'm doing here is I'm loading, pulling my upper shoulder forward, my rear or lower shoulder back, and then I snap over. So I pull up and then snap. Pull up, snap. And instead of the snapshot that's looking like this, where I'm really up straight, I have more weight in the stick from the beginning and snap out of the ice. Stage 3, the pull through. So now when we loaded all of the power into our body and we're getting ready to unleash, we start by whipping the shoulders first, and then we go down into the torso and our hip. So it's really important that we pull this upper arm and shoulder back first, And when we do this, it's important that we don't let this hand slip out. So if this hand slips out when I start pressing, I'm not getting any flex. But if I can hold this hand in and only let it to go upwards, that's where I flex the stick. And then, if I don't pull the shoulder and arm back first, the stick is going away from me too. I need to hold tight here to be able to actually bend the stick. So, elbows into our body, finding this X alignment here, and then I pull the upper shoulder back first, and then punch this lower shoulder out as almost like a boxing jab. So we relax up in this arm and shoulder, and then tense up here. So I'm tense, and then explosive, and I rotate back, and then whip out and power down here. And right when I do this whipping motion, that's when the torso and hip adds to it. So I'm using this hip here, where I have my elbow, to help me launch out this lower arm when I whip the shoulders. So all of this translates. It's almost as a roller coaster. The first wagon pulls all of the other wagons along with it. So what's the first wagon here? Shoulders. Second one, torso. Third one, hip. And then you just extend out with your whole body. It's really important to get some space in between the puck and the blade, otherwise we can't pop it. And this space basically comes from loading the shoulders. So if you're shooting and you feel too attached with the puck all of the time, it's because you're moving your arms and not your shoulders in the movement. Then, when we get this puck separation and I start rotating and punching the weight down into the stick, you'll see the heel wants to slip forward. So this is basically a battle between the upper and lower arm. This upper wrist I'm tucking in to close the blade off. And then when I'm punching in with this lower arm, it wants to open the blade up. But I never let the stick become open, because as soon as the blade goes open, the flex goes out. And this is a mistake I see a lot on players, especially kids who don't have the wrist strength and control. And that's called basically doing a double flex, because you flex into the ice, you lose the flex, and then you hit the puck and flex it a little again. So you're losing more than 50% of your power here. So blade is closed, hitting it down, hitting it out on the toe, letting the heel slip forward as little as possible, so I will get a quicker release, and then releasing the flex out. Last stage, release. So when we pushed all of this power into the stick, getting the flex, and we start to go over to releasing the puck and releasing the flex out of the stick, that's where we transfer our weight from one leg to the other one. So I'm here, I'm pushing down, still on the back leg, but then when I release, that's when I shift over to this front leg and let all of my power fly forward. So it's really important that we're not trying to shoot up, unless we're really close to the net and want to shoot high, but actually that we keep it down and just let all our power and momentum go forward. So in the release here, it's connected to the heel slip. So we wanted the heel to slip as little as possible, and it's helped by this top hand. So when we're releasing the shot, we want to pull this top hand into our hip and getting the hand in front of us. And you can see here that it closes the blade and steers the toe towards the net. And this is where I aim. The lower hand also wants to rotate towards the net. Here, I'm pushing in, and when I'm in the pull through here, I can aim with the thumb. That's a good extra tip for all of you. And then when we get to the release, I try to push this thumb when I'm leaving the blade from the ice to get the toe to go as quickly towards where I want it to go in the net. And then I extend this arm out, rotating the elbow outwards and extending the shoulder fully. When we're releasing the shot out too, just a small extra tip to help with your accuracy, is that you want to get a lot behind this lower arm and shoulder. So you really want to get the shoulder in front of you here, below your eye, and then feel that it's a connected line with your vision, hand, shoulder. And then when you get the blade in front of you in the release, you stare that line out to the blade. And you connect that with the thumb, it's gonna be really easy for you to get the puck where you want it to go. If you want more tips and tricks like this, make sure to do a shooting analysis on our website. It's gonna be the best thing you'll ever do to your shot. And if you want more videos like this, just leave a suggestion down below if you want me to break down one-timer, slap shot, backhand shots, whatever. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and see you in the next one. Bye.
How to take a wrist shot. I think this is probably one of the most requested things that we have. All the tutorials that we filmed back in the day were back in the day. And obviously things have changed.
Wrist shot we did at the other rink. Oh, no, bro.
I was right. We did snapshot. That's on you.
I'm wondering who's drunk.
Because I'm a real bad
Real, sorry.